Peter, thank you very much for chairing the meeting. You always do such a fantastic job, and I know the shareholders appreciate it. And thanks to all of you for joining us today as we achieve another milestone in the history of FirstService. As you know, we're at a turning point. Moments ago, our shareholders overwhelmingly approved a resolution to separate FirstService into two independent billion-dollar companies, changing the complexion of our business for the future. When completed, we will be in a better position than ever to continue creating value for you, our shareholders. Over the past 20 years, FirstService has grown shareholder value from virtually nothing to a market capitalization of almost $3 billion. And in the process, we created one of North America's true overnight success stories. Each of us at FirstService is extremely proud of this accomplishment and honored to have played our part. Given the significance of today's meeting, we plan to do things a little differently than we have in the past. John and Scott will not be giving their usual presentations. That information is available in the Management Information Circular, as well as in the 2014 annual report, which will essentially be the final report for FirstService under our current composition. Today, our focus is on the future. With your support and subject to final regulatory and court approval, we will proceed with the next step in our evolution as a company. By separating FirstService into two companies, Colliers International, a global leader in commercial real estate services, and New FirstService Corporation, a market leader in residential property management and property services, we will create two new public companies. Two companies with proven success stories and proven business models. Two companies with an outstanding legacy of performance, and two companies with outstanding growth opportunities. Before I talk about how this will unfold, I'd like to review our performance over the last year, which was a record year for FirstService. Overall, in 2014, revenues were $2.7 billion. EBITDA came in at $222 million, and earnings per share was $2.73. Our after-tax cash flow was a strong $159 million. As importantly, our shareholders have been well rewarded for their investment in FirstService. Our shares appreciated by more than 18% during 2014, and since year-end, our shares were up a further 32%, closing yesterday, down I might add, at $67 per share. During 2014, Colliers increased revenue and EBITDA by 24% and 38% respectively. Acquisitions played a major role with notable additions in France, the UK, and Australia. FirstService Residential continued to grow, with revenues up 9%, while increasing its scale and scope for the future with additions in California, Texas, and Arizona. And FirstService Brands also increased revenues by 11% and EBITDA by 13% as royalties from increased system-wide sales continued to drive performance. FirstService Brands also completed an important addition with the acquisition of Paul Davis Canada. Our record results in 2014 were the latest in a long history of performance. When it comes to vision, 2020 stands for optimal clarity. In a world of investment returns, that combination of 2020 is pretty hard to beat. However, with a disciplined approach and an unwavering spirit of enterprise and a little luck, FirstService did just that, delivered 20% annualized returns for more than 20 years. A $100,000 investment in FirstService when we first listed our shares is worth about $4 million today. So either way, an impressive track record, to say the least. How did we achieve this? By working hard every day, by strengthening our operations, by seizing opportunities, and by divesting of non-core assets when it made sense. Let me take a moment to highlight some of our company's accomplishments over the past couple of years. As many of you know, FirstService was founded in 1989 with Superior Pools, a company I started as a teenager. There are many great memories, but suffice it to say that Superior was a tremendous training ground for what was to come. From the outset, our focus was on the service sector because it offered so many opportunities not available in other areas. In 1993, we went public by listing our shares on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Our shares first traded at an IPO price of $5.50 per share, which equates to a staggering $225 today if you factor in stock splits and dividends. Growing our share value by more than 40 times since our IPO is, as that great philosopher Austin Powers once said, not too shabby. By 1994, we had more than doubled our revenues, acquiring service businesses like our lawn care business and other property service brands. And with the acquisition of Intercon Security, our annual revenues exceeded $100 million for the first time. By 1995, we listed on the NASDAQ and we started to acquire business service companies. We knew outsourcing of business services by corporations and governments was a great opportunity for growth at the time. We launched our residential property management platform in 1996, acquiring successful businesses in key growth markets in the U.S., especially in Florida and the Northeast. By 1998, we had grown to become the largest residential property manager in North America, and we recognized then that this business offered us tremendous potential for the future. 2004 was another great point in our history with the acquisition of Colliers Macaulay Nichols, the largest shareholder of the internationally known Colliers International. This addition immediately established our platform in commercial real estate, and Colliers extended our reach beyond North America with operations in Asia Pacific, Eastern Europe, and Latin America. And for the first time, FirstService was truly a global company. By 2006, our revenues exceeded $1 billion. It was then that we decided it was time to start refining our focus on real estate services. The first step was to divest our business service platform. The sale proceeds were significant, and over the 11 years of our ownership, we generated in excess of an 18% return. And then, 2 years later, we sold our security business again at a substantial gain, and this time generated a 22% annualized return over the 15 years that we were in this business. By 2009, we finally gained control of the global operations of Colliers International, adding key business units in New York and Chicago. As we entered 2012, annualized revenues now exceeded $2 billion, and we continued to grow aggressively, adding Colliers UK in 2012 and Colliers Germany the following year, further increasing our platform in Western Europe. In 2013, we took another bold step, rebranding our FirstService property management division to FirstService Residential, establishing the next chapter in North America's largest property manager. Today, we're making history again. With revenues of $1.6 billion in 2014, Colliers International is the fastest growing real estate company in the world, with services in more than 41 countries around the world through 200 offices. Equally important, it operates in an industry with enormous potential. The global market for commercial real estate is greater than $150 billion annually, with the top 5 players having a market share of only 15%, leaving tons of room to grow. When you compare that to the accounting industry, which is about the same size, the top 5 players there, PwC, Deloitte, and others, have a 70% market share. And like the accounting industry, there are only a few names that are recognized globally, and Colliers International is one of them. Owning a global brand in an industry with lots of room to grow will pay huge dividends in the years to come. Going forward, Colliers will be managed by an experienced leadership team. Current CEO Doug Fry and COO Dylan Taylor will be joined by our own John Frederickson as CFO, and I will remain closely involved in the leadership team as the executive chair. New FirstService, a combination of FirstService Residential and FirstService brands, is also a billion-dollar company with about $1.1 billion in revenues last year. New FirstService is a cash flow machine. Like Colliers, it operates in massive, highly fragmented markets, creating numerous opportunities for growth, not only in North America, but beyond. FirstService will be guided by Scott Patterson as CEO and Jeremy Rakusin as CFO, together with Chuck Fallon at FirstService Residential and Charlie Chase at FirstService Brands. At FirstService, I will act as the founder and chairman of the board. I'm extremely excited about the prospects for both of these companies. But not surprisingly, when the transaction was announced, many people kept asking me, which business do you think will prove to be the better investment? I think the answer is clear. Together, they'll continue to do in the future what they have in the past. Pretty good returns. But as 2 independent public companies, I think they have the potential to do much, much better. Standalone, they'll have a sharper focus, they'll be more flexible, and they'll be better aligned with their shareholders. The fact is, great investments are difficult to find, especially those that have proven track records, great management teams, and abundant growth opportunities both in North America and globally. And that's why I intend to hold my shares in both companies for the long term and to continue to generate the outstanding returns that I've generated over the past 20 years. At FirstService, we owe our success to many people, and now I'd like to introduce some of them to you. Let me ask the following people to stand and to receive the recognition they deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause until I'm finished with the introductions. We have an incredible team at our corporate office, and I want to thank each and every one of them for their success and for working closely to help build the success of FirstService. There are, however, a few who I would like to especially acknowledge today. First, Scott Patterson, our President and COO. Scott. Doug Fry, CEO of Colliers International. John Frederickson, Senior Vice President and CFO. Doug Cook, our Treasurer and Corporate Secretary, and Linda Crawley, who has been my indispensable assistant since the beginning of FirstService. Next, I would like to thank our directors. They're an outstanding group, I would say among the best anywhere. Most of them have been directors for many years, and all of them have made themselves available over the years whenever called upon to provide their insight, wisdom, and advice. So let me ask David Beattie to please stand, Brendan Calder, Jack Curtin, Bernie Gert, Mike Harris, and Mike Stein. I would like to particularly acknowledge today our esteemed chairman of the board, Peter Cohen. Peter is not only one of our original directors, but he has also been the leader of our board for many years. As importantly, Peter has been a mentor and an advisor to me, as well as the rest of the management team. Peter, would you please stand? These people deserve our special thanks. They have all played an integral role in our success, and I'm so honored to have worked so closely with all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in a standing ovation for these great professionals? Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, our shareholders, for your confidence and support over our first 20 years of operation. I know I speak for the entire management team in saying that we've only just begun. We all look forward to the future with great anticipation, and we remain confident that we will continue to create value at both Colliers and FirstService for many years to come. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd be pleased to take any questions that you might have. Thanks for joining us. There is a question. This is the first time in several years we have a question. Mr. Lass, please ask the question.
Well, it's not really a question, Mr. Hennig. It's, you have assembled a great leadership team. Your team has provided great results. At the end of the day, we also need to thank you.
Thank you. I want another question like that from somebody else out in the crowd. Brian again. Anyway, it's been a real honor to take FirstService to almost $3 billion in market cap. We are incredibly excited about this new chapter in our development. We believe that we have just an incredible management team, both at Colliers and at FirstService. And we also fundamentally believe that going forward, we'll be able to accelerate our growth even more than we have in the past. We've spent 20 years learning this business and understanding our competitors and the market dynamics. And we have experienced teams, some 26,000, I think at last count, 26,000 employees around the world that work hard every day to make a difference for our shareholders. So we have the team, we have the opportunity, and we believe that we're just getting started. So thank you everyone for joining us today. There's refreshments in the back, and we'd be pleased to answer any other questions that you have. Thanks.